Images really improve the way that your model is received. It assists in the way that the meaning of it is communicated to other people. And it's very nice that the Insight Maker allows you to simply refer to images anywhere on the internet and assign them as images for any of the primitives that you use in your model. The risk being that everything on the internet is constantly changing. And you never know when the image that you've referenced, which belongs to someone else at some other location, is going to be deleted or changed or replaced with some image of some other name. And in which case you'll come back to your model and find out that there's a blank spot there and the image is gone, which means you need to go search and find a replacement for it and put it back. And if it happens once in a while, it wouldn't be too much of a bother. But if you create a lot of models, you find out that every 2 or 3 models that you access that you created some time ago, it's got 1 or 2 blank spots in it. So the answer to this predicament is to use some web-based environment that does image management. And the one that I use is called Cloudinary. The reason that I use it is because it's extremely capable, and to the extent that I need it, it's free. So that for a free account, it will manage 75,000 images, and I can't imagine I will ever create enough models to take up 75,000 images. 2 gigabytes of managed storage, which is an awful lot of images, and 5 gigabytes of monthly bandwidth. And if people are accessing 5 gigabytes worth of images in models on a month, then it's probably worth paying for. So just go to Cloudinary and sign up for a free account and log in. And after you've signed up for your free account, log in. And the environment, Cloudinary is another one of those applications that's about a mile wide and a mile deep, and I need about 1% of the capabilities. So I'm just going to talk about the way that I use it, which is sufficient to accommodate or overcome the predicament that I find with models ending up with broken images. So the dashboard is simply a quick review of your content and the amount that's being accessed. So there's been 52 new images recently, and I have 373 images. In total, I'm using 19.5 megabytes, which is 0% of my plan and only 2% of my bandwidth. So it's pretty low. In other words, I'm not even getting close to what it would take to have to pay for the account. To actually use it for managing images for Insight Maker, you go to the media library and you add images to the library. And initially I started naming them all kinds of cryptic stuff, and finally I said, why don't I just start at 0001 and increment them as I add them, so then I don't have, because I could never remember what the cryptic names were anyway. And when I add images, I get to add tags to them, so I do a search based upon tags anyway and not the name of it. So let me go back here and say that, okay, for the savings account, I want to go ahead and add an image for a bank. So I'll go to Google and say bank and look at images, and here's one that's not too big. I'll look at this and I'll look at the image, and so see, this is an HTML page. I can't use this. I need to go find a bank that's really okay. Here we are. It's a URL to a meaningful image of a bank. So I go back to Cloudinary and I'll say more upload options. I'll paste in the URL and I'll use the next ID because it sequences them on the screen. So this one will be 0 to 16, and the keyword is, or the tag, the only tag I want to add is bank. You can add numerous tags simply by separating them by commas, and click upload, and it goes, finds it, and uploads and puts it into Cloudinary. So it's sitting there, and it tells me that this image is 1024 by 1024 and takes 140K. The image, this right here, is just a thumbnail of the image. If I click on this, it takes me to the full image, and I can copy this URL, copy link address, and if I then went ahead and entered that, it would show me the whole image of the bank. But usually all that I need in Insight Maker is the thumbnail of it. So I simply click here, right click here, and say copy image URL, which gives me a much smaller image, which is usually all I need to put on a primitive in Insight Maker. So if I go back to Insight Maker, right click here now and say custom image and paste in, notice this says Cloudinary, my username, it's an image, upload, and this says it's a thumbnail, and I tell it okay, and now I have an image of a bank as opposed to just a little bubble that was there. And you can continue to do this. Let me go look for look for faucet. Here's a faucet. This one's good. Let me click on this, look at the image. Okay, here's one. I can copy this. I can go back to Cloudinary, change this. You want to make sure that you don't try and overwrite the same numbers, because you can really confuse things. So you make sure that you look at the last one that you entered and enter the next number. So I go ahead and do an upload here, do a right click and copy the image URL, and go back here, take this, change it so that the text is now on the bottom, and then go ahead and paste in the custom image. And I now have a picture of a faucet as opposed to just the bubble that was there. And so that when you, now that this is the same model that I used in a previous session, so that the interest, if you look at this, the custom image, the URL for this is still out someplace on the web. So I would go through and replace these with images from Cloudinary, and that would ensure that they don't get broken in the future. And now though I don't have a lot of images in here because I used to use another instance of Cloudinary. But if I search, suppose I search for bank, okay, it returns a bank. If I want growth, I know I've got some loops in there. If I search for interest, well, there's no interest in there. Rate, graph. So you can do that, or simply tell it that you want to look at all of them, and you can scroll through it quite readily until you find something. I mean, you sort of build up a set of images that you use on a relatively regular basis, and you use them over and over again, and once in a while you have to go find a new one. So that's the 1% of Cloudinary that I use on an ongoing basis. If you have a file that's on your desktop, you can select File and load an image from your desktop as opposed to from somewhere else on the web. Again, remember to change the public ID sequencing, because if you overload, if you use the same public ID, it'll overwrite the previous one that you loaded, and you'll lose the previous image and mess up the image in whatever model you used it in. So you can grab an image from any place on the net and plug it into Cloudinary, use the the thumbnail by doing a copy image URL, or going to the actual picture itself and copying the link address of this. Now you notice that here the only tag on this one is smart. Now, as I said, if you're interested in doing other things with Cloudinary, that's up to you. It has a repertoire of functions that's really amazing in terms of it will do all of these things to an image on the fly, so that you can put an image in there, do all of these transformations on it, and it will give you a URL to pull that image out of the library in the format that you specified with all of those modifications to it. And it's there, it's part of the package. You're welcome to learn about them and use them if you wish. For what I do with Insight Maker, I said I need about 1% of the package, and that is just the ability to grab an image from someplace on the internet or upload it from a file and keep a sequence of them, so that I can just right click and do a copy image URL and paste that into the graphic image of the primitive in Insight Maker. And I don't have to worry about my images, my models having broken images in the future. So hope you found this of interest, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.